Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is the first of a two-part series on law firm SEO. And in today's session, we're going to take a comprehensive overview of law firm SEO to help you learn not only the basics about how your potential clients are using the internet to find you, but also what to look out for in SEO providers that will help you stay immune to empty sales talk or other things that have a negative effect on your law firm's web presence. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, my name is Victoria Blute and I'm the community manager at LawLytics. My job is to keep attorneys on the cutting edge of web technologies and online legal marketing and to help you learn what works on the web. I come from a journalism background, and if you happen to read our blog or regularly attend our webinars, you might already recognize me. Before we get started, I want to briefly review who we are here at LawLytics and what we do and why it matters. You have many choices of companies and technologies to design, build, host, and help you market your law firm's website. And at LawLytics, we do all of that, and we have a lot of competition. So what is LawLytics? How are we different? Our company is obsessed with the pursuit of the most efficient method of marketing for each law firm. And as we see it, there are two major variables of efficiency. There's time and there's money. And LawLytics was created to empower law firms to have unlimited marketing success without wasting time or money. And we have two different types of competitors. On one side are full-service marketing companies like FindLaw and Martindale Nolo. And LawLytics is built to give attorneys all of the upsides of using a full-service company, but that's without exposing you to the potential risks and downsides. And on the other side are do-it-yourself website software programs, things like WordPress or Wix, that are usually cheap or free to use. But the problem there is that these programs tend to come with steep opportunity costs. Attorneys often struggle to make them work, and that has them wasting their time and missing opportunities along the way. So while both full-service companies and do-it-yourself platforms are viable options, LawLytics offers a more practical solution for lawyers. Our company works exclusively with attorneys, and our services are adaptable to every stage of a law firm's growth. So that means our members can start as small as they choose and then grow as big as they decide without taking dangerous risks or committing to things that might not work. And our software is built exclusively for you, the attorney. So the learning curve is really easy, and that enables our members to add to and edit their websites and turn their efforts into new business without struggling. There are some other relevant LawLytics webinars that relate to what we're going to discuss today, so I want to address those first for those who are interested before we get started. A couple weeks ago, we did a webinar on pay-per-click or PPC for lawyers, and in that hour-long webinar, we looked at the strategy and the resources that go into a successful PPC marketing campaign. We showed attorneys how it works, how to determine whether you actually need a middleman to broker those ads for you as well. And that webinar was designed to help you determine whether pay-per-click is right for your firm and how to make sure that if you're going to do it, that you're doing it correctly. And we also talked about how to use the LawLytics landing page creation features to maximize your clicks to clients conversion while also minimizing your cost per click. So if you're interested in checking out that webinar, you can find it over on our webinars page at www.lawlytics.com. And we also recently presented a webinar on reputation management. And that was designed to teach you really how easy it is to manage and grow your online reviews and to protect your reputation. Reputation management is one of those things that you'll want to start working on as soon as you can with your online presence because reviews really matter. Your potential clients will look to reviews when they're making decisions about hiring you. But conveniently, if you're using the right technology, when it comes down to it, managing, collecting, and displaying positive reviews is actually pretty easy to do, and it doesn't require a lot of extra effort on your part. And again, if you want to see that webinar, it's available on our webinars page. And today, we are going to talk about law firm SEO. We are going to show you how to grow your firm by understanding how search engines work and how to do search engine optimization the right way. The way that attracts qualified potential clients and referral sources without wasting your time or wasting your money or exposing you to dangerous risks that can harm your law firm's web presence. Just a couple introductory notes before we get into the meat of this presentation. It should be said that there are likely more bad SEO professionals out there than good ones. And there may be a lot of reasons for that, but just for a moment, consider the difference between the profession of law and SEO professionals. So, as a lawyer, you have probably worked quite hard to get where you are. You had to pass the bar exam, you had to pass the ethics portion, the character and fitness screening, all of those things to get your license. But when that's over, you're not done. There's still more. You still have regular CLE requirements, you pay bar dues, you have to maintain at least a minimum standard of ethical conduct and competence to stay licensed. And of course, the law is not a perfect profession. It has its flaws, but as a regulated profession, people have a right to expect a minimum level of competence and professionalism when they hire an attorney. And they have regulatory recourse if they don't get that. Now, maybe this is something that you've thought about, or maybe that you haven't yet, but consider a SEO provider. There is no regulatory body that governs SEO professionals. There aren't the sort of requirements that you had when you became a lawyer. So on one hand, there are definitely skilled and ethical professionals out there, but there are also criminals and con artists and useless middlemen and others too. And it can be hard to tell them apart. There aren't any prerequisites to becoming a quote-unquote SEO expert. These people don't even need a website or an office. They could very well be operating out of somebody's basement, but they can claim years or decades of experience in legal marketing without having any legal background or understanding where legal ethics and online marketing intersect. So, for example, you could have a SEO professional, and I use that term loosely, who has no obligation to understand the rules of professional conduct, or they don't understand that using keyword optimized synonyms for legal terms of art can alter their meaning in a way that can cause you as the attorney some very serious problems. And there's no minimum number of law firms that one of these so-called professionals needs to have helped to claim that they are a law firm SEO specialist. And yet, because the idea of online marketing and all that comes with it, terms like SEO, are sometimes confusing to attorneys, or attorneys feel like they don't have the time to learn about it, they can put their businesses and sometimes even their licenses at risk by ignoring these truths and working with an SEO provider, whether that's a single person or a company, or a single person pretending to be a company, who they haven't checked out and vetted properly. So, what can happen when an attorney hires one of these individuals? Here are just some of the ways that these people have an adverse effect on attorneys. First, by using obsolete techniques. And we'll talk more about this momentarily, but best case scenario is that these people are using techniques that don't move the needle for your firm at all and have a neutral effect on your web presence, which can still have you paying a lot of money for nothing. But worst case scenario is that they are engaging in techniques that are against Google's webmaster guidelines. And if that's the case, your web presence can actually suffer quite a bit, and it can be difficult to recover from in the future. Which brings me to this next bullet point, breaking search engine guidelines. So without a solid background in both the law and understanding about how to write for the various types of practices in a way that stays within Google's webmaster guidelines and resonates with potential clients, there's not a lot that a non-attorney marketing person or a company can do for your firm that's going to both bring in potential clients, generate revenue, and also not violate those guidelines. And if somebody is breaking those guidelines and there is any benefit initially, it is likely to be very short-lived. Google is regularly updating its algorithms, looking for spammy practices and sites and spammy links, and relegating sites that run afoul of its guidelines. Next up is outsourcing SEO work. So, as I said earlier, you don't need an office or even a website in order to claim yourself as a SEO professional. And there are people working alone in their homes who will do things like claiming that they have a very big staff. And these are some of the same people who will preach against outsourcing work, and then they do exactly that on a regular basis. We have caught providers who will preach against offshoring or outsourcing work who are doing that with independent contractors halfway across the world in places like India, Russia, Pakistan, Kenya, you name it. Reusing content is something that also has an adverse effect on attorneys. So there is no one-size-fits-all SEO strategy for attorneys, and yet there are some companies or providers who will sell the exact same content over and over again to different attorneys. And this strategy doesn't account for the individual law firm's location, their practice area, their competition, their goals, and so on. And in fact, there is one publishing company that happens to have a legal marketing division that will rent content to lawyers and then prevents the search engines from actually indexing that content. So if the search engines can't index that content, that means that nobody else, and that includes your potential clients, can actually find it when they make searches related to that content. So essentially, you have paid money for completely useless content. Lastly, fabricating marketing and performance reports. So whether someone approaches you out of the blue with a marketing report that claims that there is, something seriously wrong with your website, or you've hired someone and they're providing you with marketing and performance reports, a lot of times these reports are completely bogus. They let the provider or the company get your business and take your money without actually solving your problems or achieving anything real. So these are a lot of the ways that hiring the wrong person can affect attorneys. But the next point that I want to make is this. Law firm SEO is not rocket science. At LawLytics, we talk with dozens of lawyers every week who have been with SEO providers, and these lawyers will tell us any variation on a theme of how they're getting ripped off, they're being misled, defrauded, or failed by a quote-unquote SEO expert. And that ranges from a large legal marketing operation to a young adult who's pretending to run a viable company with employees, so to speak, who simultaneously work 3 other jobs. And the problem is attorneys are often hiring these individuals without realizing that SEO is actually a pretty easy thing to master and to do. But there is this persistent lie that marketers tell and that keeps attorneys on the hook, and that's the idea that SEO is difficult. And it's what they want you to believe because, as you might expect, that's part of what keeps them in business. They might try to scare you with marketing reports, as I said, that tell you that something is wrong with your website, or claim that every aspect of SEO is a challenge or there's something that you just can't understand about it. But that is not true. And once you take just a little bit of time to understand the basics and you're empowered by using the right system that makes all of this easy, then it becomes pretty simple. Keeping up with Google's algorithm updates is actually pretty easy if you're doing this the right way, and it requires very little time or expense on your part. That assumes that you're not trying to take dangerous shortcuts or use tricks that violate Google's guidelines that will end up backfiring on you. Creating cost-effective, easy SEO strategies is really just a matter of understanding the basics and not buying into 99% of what SEO salespeople will try to sell you as being necessary to your law firm's online success. So, to do this right, you'll also need the right technology. Being able to add to and edit your website on your own is important. It's important to have that control. And it's also important to be able to track your progress and understand what's working and what isn't. And when you have the right technology, you don't have to worry about empty sales talk. You know what is being done, why that's being done, and you have a certain degree of control over what's there. And lastly, it's also about avoiding pitfalls. And that requires a certain amount of education about how the internet works and how your potential clients are using it. But once you understand that, then you can stop falling for a lot of the doublespeak that's used so often by marketing predators. And when you avoid the pitfalls, it's easy to understand what drives the success of your competitors too. And that lets you create a plan to beat them without exposing yourself to dangerous risks, and it helps to keep your expenses low. So, let's talk a little bit about how your potential clients find you online. For just a moment, I want you to imagine that you are a potential client for your firm. I want you to outline the path that you think a potential client takes to find your firm online. Okay, do you have something in mind? Tell me if it looks something like this. And I'll use a criminal defense attorney as an example here. All right, so if the path looks something like this, my potential client opens their laptop, they go to Google, and then because they need a criminal defense attorney in New York, they conduct a search for criminal defense attorney New York. They find my website because I am a criminal defense attorney in New York, and they contact my law firm. If your answer is something like this one, then you have one of the more common misunderstandings that some attorneys have when they think about how potential clients search for them online. There are a number of attorneys who will assume that the path to successful online legal marketing works in this way, and that SEO is some kind of black magic that goes along with this. But when they think that it works this way, they tend to end up very frustrated and spending money and time on things that they don't need. This is not how your potential clients are using the internet to find you, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. Potential clients are going to find your website through the content that you put on it. Really, the shortest answer to explain what SEO is really about and how to attract potential clients is that your website needs content, and probably a lot of it. And we're going to talk about content in depth in just a minute. But to really understand why content is the answer, what has to be understood first is why that hypothetical scenario that I just proposed doesn't make any sense. So in that example, there are three possible assumptions. First is that potential clients usually know that they need an attorney before they conduct a search, that potential clients usually search for attorneys directly, and that potential clients use basic keyword searches to find an attorney. And there's a fourth assumption there that your potential client is using a laptop rather than a mobile device, mobile-friendly sites or something that's outside of the scope of this particular discussion right now. But let's look at each of those assumptions and why that's not how clients use search engines and how content is really the right online marketing solution. So the first assumption is that potential clients usually know that they need an attorney before they conduct a search. And that is not true. Potential clients do not always know that they need an attorney before they go online and do a search for something. But what they do often know is that they have some kind of problem that they're not sure how to solve. So they open their laptops, they go to Google, and they'll conduct question-based searches. So instead of searches like, just as an example, business attorney New York, a potential client might ask something more complex, something like, what's the best way to give co-founders options in a corporation? Some potential clients may suspect that they need an attorney, but they may still do a lot of research about how their current problem could affect them. And that research might go on for a while. They might ask any number of questions that are related to your area of practice. But the thing that will link their question and the results that Google returns and your law practice is content. So when somebody asks Google a question, Google's main focus is to return the most relevant results for the person who made that search. And this is what Google's talking about when, as they famously said, that you should make websites for people and not for search engines. People need answers, Google provides them. And they want to provide the best content that they can offer to their users. It's the entire basis of their business model. Google is the dominant search engine because they provide the best answers of any search engine. And if your website is providing insightful content that answers the questions your potential clients are asking, that's not only how you increase your visibility, but it increases your ability to actually connect with those potential clients and build your practice. Now, the second assumption is that potential clients usually search for attorneys directly. Again, not true. Potential clients will not always search for attorneys directly. And this is a flawed assumption because it assumes that potential clients search for an attorney in the same way that somebody might search for a t-shirt brand at a local store. And I've brought up this example in previous webinars, but I bring it up again because I think it's a good one. So somebody might search for Hanes T-shirts Target San Diego to see if their local Target has this particular t-shirt brand in stock. But A t-shirt is a consumer product. That person likely knows roughly what they want and they know where they want to buy it. That's a very easy decision. Choosing an attorney is not an easy decision always. It's an important and complex process, and it's one that has real effects for the potential client. And despite the attempted commoditization of attorneys by the legal marketing industry, attorneys are not consumer products, and potential clients do not search for attorneys in the same way that they might for a shirt. The third assumption here is that potential clients will usually conduct basic keyword searches to find an attorney. So I think I used the example a moment ago, business attorney New York. That's like a basic keyword search, or criminal defense attorney New York. Consider the basic keyword search for Hanes t-shirts Target. That example assumes that that person is going to conduct a vague search. So maybe this person just wants to see if Target carries Hanes shirts, but that person already knows what they want. They are, or if they do know what they want already, they are much more likely to conduct a very specific sort of search. So think about the different results you'd get by searching for something like Hanes t-shirts Target versus something much more complex, something like Hanes men's V-neck white t-shirts size XL Target San Diego. The first search is going to bring you a lot of different results about a lot of different shirts. The second is going to quickly tell you whether that store has exactly what you need. My point here is that people do not want to sift through results. They want an immediate answer in the digital age, and they have come to expect that. So the same really goes for your potential clients when they ask questions of Google. They're not likely to conduct some sort of vague search for DUI attorney or criminal defense attorney or immigration attorney and then just scan through hundreds of results. They have a question about their problem or case or matter, and they want an answer to that problem. And as I said, when potential clients ask specific questions, Google will attempt to provide specific results. So when you answer those questions with quality content on your law firm's website and blog, you are more likely to be found in search results because your content closely matches a potential client's question. So when you give them the information that they need, you are more likely to create a bond of trust that encourages them to contact your firm. So here's an actual example of how law firm SEO works for attorneys, and this is really not that complicated. So let's say we have a potential client who conducts a search like, as I said earlier, what's the best way to give co-founders options in a corporation? Or how will a DUI affect my California state nursing license? And let's say you've written a blog post about this kind of topic with a lot of useful information. You write that post in language that the potential client uses, makes it easy for them to understand, and this potential client reads what you have to say. It helps to answer their question. And now that they're visiting your law firm's website or blog, they'll probably look around and read other content that you've written too. And when what you've written is helpful and informative, your potential client begins to build that bond of trust with you. Your content demonstrates that you understand their problem and that you know what the potential client should do. And at that point, they're much more likely to reach out to you when they either A, want more information, or B, they're ready to hire you. So this is an example of how your potential clients actually use search engines and how they are likely to connect with you online. There's one point I'd like to make quickly, and that is this. So I know I said earlier that your potential clients don't usually type in basic keywords. Now, what you see here is a chart for a long tail search as it relates to immigration attorneys, just as an example. I did this doodle a while back, and if you joined us for our Start, Grow, Dominate webinar series, you might remember this, but I'm going to do just a quick recap for anyone who wasn't there. Let me first say that words like immigration attorney or immigration lawyer, those are basic keywords, and those are keywords that are related to your practice, but competing for rank with those words alone is just astronomically difficult, both in organic search or if you choose to do pay-per-click advertising. Legal terms are among the most expensive and sought after. So how can a small law firm rank for those kinds of terms? And the answer to that is by adding those terms to a long tail keyword and using long tail keywords in specific places on law firm websites and blogs. So this quick doodle explains why long tail keywords are effective for, in this particular example, immigration firms. So long tail keywords are those that are incorporated into a more complex question or phrase that narrows the window and it creates a more specific search. And this is really how many people search online. Like with the example I gave earlier about options for co-founders, or how a DUI affects your California state nursing license. Those are a much more complex question than just searching for business attorney or DUI attorney. And this diagram illustrates the value in going after long tail keywords. So on the y-axis, we have the degree of competition and cost for a keyword. And the higher on the x-axis, the higher the cost and the higher the competition for such a keyword. And on the x-axis, we have the likelihood that a potential client converts, or in this case, contacts your firm. So the further left you are, the less likely an individual is to convert. So let's have a look at a single word phrase like attorney. It's marked right there in green. That is a very, very non-specific keyword for which there is probably a lot of competition, not a lot of likelihood for conversion. Nobody in their right mind will type in the word attorney and then scroll through pages and pages of results. Now, if we get slightly more specific, like in this example here with immigration attorney or Arizona deportation defense, as you see in orange here, those are just examples. More specific than attorney, but still a highly sought after term, maybe only slightly more likely to convert somebody who's searching for it. And again, potential clients usually don't search this way. Now, let's look at the part in blue here. Here we have some highly descriptive phrases, the kinds of questions that your potential clients are likely to ask. And these ones have a much higher likelihood of converting because they directly address the kinds of questions that potential clients ask. There's far less competition for these terms, and there are millions of long-tail keyword phrases that you can target. And with so much competition for some popular keywords, it is nearly impossible to have a new law firm website that's ranking organically for those popular terms. And if someone tells you that is possible, it is very, very unlikely. If you pay to compete for those terms through things like disposable advertising, like pay-per-click, you may be paying a lot of money to compete for web visitors who may or may not click on your ads. They may or may not be potential clients for your law firm. And attorneys need to also consider that your potential clients have ad blindness. People are so bombarded with messages every single day, they really don't even see them anymore. Things like ad blockers, which I'm sure a lot of you probably use on your own computers. That's made it easier than ever for people to ignore ads, even outside of regular ad blindness. So there's that new element to the mix that you may well be trying to advertise to people who never even see your ads. But I'm sure there is a question that some of you have, and that is, can I compete only for long tail keywords? And the answer to that is no. There are small law firms that rank very well for very popular law firm keywords, ones like criminal defense attorney or immigration attorney or DUI attorney. But how they got there is often a byproduct of publishing a lot of original, useful content that's related to those terms. And that content is likely in the form of long-tail keywords and phrases. So, for example, in this example here for immigration attorneys, you may not be able to compete for a term like immigration attorney, but you can compete for related searches when you write a significant volume of content that addresses questions like some of the ones that we've previously discussed. Not only that, but when you optimize for an extremely specific phrase, you're also optimizing for the basic attorney-related terms that it contains. And I should mention here also that one of the major things that Google is working on right now with algorithms like RankBrain and others is the artificial intelligence aspect of search, particularly understanding intent. So when a potential client makes a search like the ones that you see here, the more complicated questions, or even one that doesn't necessarily use the word immigration or immigration attorney, like this question in blue, can you become a US citizen after receiving a DUI while visiting the United States? Google will try to understand if this person might be looking for the assistance of an immigration attorney. So, now that we've talked about some fundamentals, let's talk about some ways that SEO falls short. So we talk with dozens of lawyers each week who come to us because they are usually in one of two positions. Either they have tried and failed at online marketing in terms of never having succeeded at all, or in the other case, others are trying to figure out what went wrong because what they were doing used to work and it doesn't anymore. So here are some common scenarios that we see. The first is wrong experts. So you've been paying a quote unquote law firm SEO expert, but the needle isn't moving in the right direction. And you may have had this experience with several experts in a row. If you have, there is a reason. It's time to stop the insanity. No time is another problem. So nobody cares about your law practice as much as you do, but your cases and your clients come first, and that can leave you with little or no time to keep up with the changes in technology and the SEO ecosystem. Inappropriate delegation. So you've delegated some or all of your SEO and online marketing to staff members or maybe a relative that you trust, but they didn't have the expertise to succeed, and they ended up doing wasteful things with good intentions. Another one here is spray and pray. So you keep falling for sales pitches for the next best thing, which results in a spaghetti strategy of law firm SEO, where you're blindly trying everything in hopes that something will work, and then you're not knowing what actually does work and what doesn't. Tricks and traps. You've tried all of the attorney SEO tricks that have come to your attention, and maybe they seem to work for a while, but now you've been hit with a Google penalty for violating their guidelines. Once bitten, twice shy. So you've been burned so many times before that you're starting to think that the entire industry is corrupt or incompetent, and you're starting to think that it's a battle that you just can't win. The last one is unsolved mysteries. So let's say your website used to work very well, but over a short period of time, it just stopped working. Maybe you used to be on page 1 of Google and now you're buried somewhere on page 5, but more confusing still is when you're on page 1 of Google and yet business has completely dried up. There are logical and expected reasons for both of these things, but once you understand how law firm SEO works, the reasons become obvious, and the antidote is conveniently quite affordable and quickly attainable. For all of the ways that SEO can fall short, there are also some really easy and practical ways to fix those problems that you're facing. As I said earlier, one way is to make sure that you know how your potential clients are using the internet and how the internet works. And once you know that, then it comes down to having the right technology. So to give you a little bit of context as to how LawLytics got started, our CEO, attorney Dan Jaffe, had built successful law practices in both Seattle and Phoenix using the internet and SEO. And he built a sustainable business advantage over his competitors that endured for a decade. What he then did is he used search engine optimization and content marketing strategies to build a highly successful law firm directory. And in 2011, he co-founded LawLytics to help attorneys escape from the marketing treadmill and empower them to have successful online marketing without wasting their time or money. LawLytics was originally built based on Dan's years of law firm SEO experience, which is now at 18 years and counting. And the system continues to evolve based on the input and the experience of hundreds of lawyers who use the LawLytics system on a daily basis, and based on millions of observed client interactions on LawLytics-powered websites that originated through search engines. The LawLytics team consists of authorities in technology, marketing, and SEO. You might be familiar with attorney Larry Bodine, who is our senior legal marketing strategist. He has spent the last 2 decades of his career leading the evolution of attorney marketing to the internet. Attorney Rachel Shalott, who is our Vice President of Content Operations, she is one of the leading authorities in law firm website content planning that meets the equal demands of ethics, potential client education, and compelling law firm marketing and SEO. And our technology team, which is led by software engineer and CTO Derek Johnson, has built the most comprehensive and search engine-friendly law firm website marketing system in existence. The Legal Marketing Control Panel really makes it easy for attorneys to understand and do all of the things that are needed to execute a world-class SEO plan without any crazy learning curve or any programming experience. And LawLytics does all of the technical and design tasks to make your law firm website SEO friendly. We did the due diligence for you, so everything you need to succeed is built into our technology. And we update our cloud-based system as Google standards change, and your law firm's website gets automatically updated when we do that. Our unique cloud-based technology was developed exclusively for lawyers, and the goal there was to help you excel using content marketing and using SEO. It allows us to continuously innovate and push the boundaries to maximize your ability to attract new clients through search while simultaneously minimizing the expense per new client acquired. So for those of you who are LawLytics members, you know about these features already. But for those of you who aren't, I just want to quickly introduce you to a little part of what the LawLytics system does, and that's our SEO features. The LawLytics system automatically adds SEO-friendly semantic markup to your site. So you, A, don't have to pay a programmer to do it for you, and B, you don't have to quit your day job to learn how to code. The system also creates special SEO-friendly pages for your attorney bio or bios if you have more than one attorney, your office or offices if you have more than one location, your case results and testimonials. And it lets you insert Google Maps into your pages with just a few clicks. The system communicates with search engines through an automatically created and updated special sitemap that tells the search engines whenever a new page is added or when an existing page has been updated. And that means there's never a need to submit new pages to Google. Attorneys who use the LawLytics system don't need to worry about entering keywords perfectly or any other technical aspect of law firm SEO. Our system is specialized for lawyers, and that empowers them to focus on content. Content is the single biggest indicator of success for both SEO and for converting potential clients into engaged prospects once they find your law firm. Of all the ranking factors that are employed by Google, and that includes also Bing and the other search engines, nothing has ever been more important than providing content that is responsive to the queries for which the potential client has searched. LawLytics is optimized to make success simple. We use cutting-edge SEO practices without the learning curve required to be on the cutting edge of search engine optimization, and without the need for you to hire some expensive SEO person. And in fact, LawLytics helps you avoid the mistakes that overpriced SEO providers often make in order to justify cashing your check. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about how LawLytics helps attorneys succeed online, let's talk about some SEO tactics to avoid. There is an abundance of negligent and useless SEO advice out there, and most of it is harmless except for the fact that it distracts lawyers from focusing on what really moves the needle. It is negligent and misleading to claim that what a law firm SEO company does outside of your law firm's website is somehow more important than what is done on the website. And yet, many vendors will push this approach because it's something that's easy to fake. It's impossible for the attorney to determine whether anything meaningful is being done to earn the fee. So here are some things that companies do in the name of SEO that waste attorneys' money. The first one is writing and distributing press releases. So years ago, distributing a press release using PR Web or PR Newswire and inserting links anchored by strategic keywords was helpful to SEO, but that was a long time ago. And since Google's Panda updates, the SEO benefits of press releases have really been negated. The only viable strategy that remains in using press releases for the purposes of SEO is to write press releases that actually get legitimate press. However, press releases with stories about attorneys receiving bogus awards or bought awards or winning cases that aren't newsworthy, and it's unlikely that your $200,000 verdict is newsworthy, simply don't move the needle. Law firms that offer link-bait scholarships are detected a mile away and at this point are routinely disregarded, which renders them a waste of attorneys' money. Today, adding SEO links to press releases is really illusory. A link designed to add search engine optimization value by nature does not contain a no-follow tag and is therefore susceptible to incurring a penalty from Google as an unnatural link. So assuming that a no-follow tag is used, then any potential SEO benefit is negated. So it's best to steer clear of any marketing company who is selling the crafting and distribution of press releases as a legitimate SEO strategy. Now, as a side note, before you're under the impression that press releases are useless altogether, let me say that press releases remain a really good vehicle for making contact with journalists and other media outlets and for building overall brand awareness. They can also help attorneys who have a negative online reputation that they need to manage by occupying a space on the search engine results pages when your name is searched for. But again, none of these things are SEO, and any law firm marketing company that sells press releases as a part of an SEO strategy should be regarded with suspicion. The second tactic is writing articles for content farms. So years ago, content farms were a great way to get backlinks and increase Google ranking. And just as a definition here, a content farm is a website that publishes a large number of daily articles or posts, mostly of low quality, that are written by freelancers or volunteer quote-unquote experts exclusively or primarily for SEO benefit. And Google has really cracked down quite hard on these types of sites. And in past Google updates, most notably the Panda updates, sites that were ranked based on links and articles on those sites were demoted and they've lost their ranking. And sites that were hit included easyarticles.com, associatedcontent.com, examiner.com, and hundreds of others on top of that. And many of these sites that are, no longer bolstered by the ability to promise Google ranking in exchange for content have ceased operations. A common but misguided law firm SEO sales tactic is to promise to publish articles in content farm type sites. And those who are still selling this tactic will not likely refer to them as content farms. However, they should be avoided because at the very best, you're wasting your time and money. At worst, they have the real potential to harm your site rather than to help it. Submitting websites to high-end link directories. So Google's Webmaster Guidelines previously contained advice to submit your site to relevant directories such as the Open Directory Project and Yahoo, as well as other industry-specific expert sites. It's important to note that this advice has since been removed from Google's guidelines, and that was a while ago. So since that time, Google has devalued links from directories, removing directories from their index, and they even send site owners unnatural link warnings or assessing penalties. In 2017, it is not a good practice to submit a law firm website to link directories. In fact, it is a useless practice at best and highly dangerous under some circumstances. It is axiomatic that directory submissions are done with the primary intention of gaining better search engine ranking. Ignore webmasters who will claim that it builds authority. There is substantial evidence to the contrary. The next bad tactic is paying for guest blog posts or links on prestigious publications. So if a SEO provider strategy claims to involve publishing articles as a guest in prestigious publications such as Inc. or Business Insider or Huffington Post, you should be aware that the purpose of those publications is not to be used as a content farm. In fact, the gratuitous use of those publications by those who have previously received publishing privileges in order to sell SEO services to their customers is a deceptive tactic that is unlikely to work. And even if the publication does accept an article, most of them will automatically add no follow tags to the links, which renders them useless in terms of SEO. And they do this to prevent the abuse of their publications by unscrupulous SEO providers. Setting up fake or contrived acts of kindness as link bait. There are a number of common schemes perpetrated on behalf of law firms in an attempt to trick people or institutions into providing links to a law firm website. And the ethics of these tactics are highly questionable. The ends, if achieved, are typically unsatisfying and dangerous and short-lived. So it boils down to using charity or generosity as a cover to get a link. And examples to that would include setting up fake or worthless scholarships or grants to get colleges to link back to the law firm, creating contests or scholarships that are aimed at students that require them to post their submission and link back to the law firm, or creating fake or meaningless charity events to get respected community organizations to link back to the law firm. None of these tactics are going to pay off over time, and they all fall within the definition of an unnatural link. They're done to manipulate search engines. Participating in link schemes. So Google says that, and this is a quote, "Any links intended to manipulate PageRank or a site's ranking in Google search results may be considered a part of a link scheme and a violation of Google's webmaster guidelines. This includes any behavior that manipulates links to your site or outgoing links from your site." So here are some examples that Google will provide. Buying or selling links that pass rank, and that includes exchanging anything of value for the links, or links in posts, or giving something away for free in exchange for them linking to your law firm's website. Exchanging links or cross-linking. Large-scale article marketing or guest post campaigns with links that contain anchor text with keywords, low-quality directory or bookmark site links, keyword-rich low-quality links embedded in widgets, forum comments with optimized links in posts or signatures. Here's the rub. If a SEO person is not creating high-quality content for your website and they claim to be doing off-site optimization, there are very few things that they can legitimately do on your behalf that add value and don't create some sort of liability. So in order to protect yourself against buying an illusion, we recommend that you insist the provider keeps a log of every off-site action that they perform for you. And that's complete with links so you can audit their work. And that way you'll be able to see what they've done and put an immediate stop to it if it involves something like link schemes. Now, if they refuse to do this, you can pretty much bet that it's because they weren't planning on doing anything in the first place, or the things that they were planning on doing were bad. So this was a slide that we felt was necessary because we get annoyed when we see marketing companies that are charging attorneys for things that should definitely be done, but that really take mere minutes to do, or that involve the attorney's involvement anyway. So here are some things that you should do, but you should never pay anyone to do for you. First, claim and verify your local directory listings and citations. It's easy to claim most of the local listings and citations that are actually going to move the ball forward and help your law firm get more clients. And each one requires a 5 or 10 minute investment of your time and no prior knowledge or experience. There's nothing special you have to do here. Some of them require that you receive verification in the US mail to confirm your association with a physical address. And this process typically only needs to be done once. And since it typically requires your participation anyway, why pay somebody to do that for you? At LawLytics, we will help guide you through that process to save you the expense of hiring somebody to do it. A common issue that we see with law firms who have had previous marketing or SEO companies involved is the existence of multiple and conflicting listings. And when this happens, we typically guide our customers through the process of removing duplicate locations, which, like most tasks that marketing people will attempt to charge lawyers to perform, really just takes a few minutes. It is simply a matter of signing into Google My Business, clicking duplicate locations at the top of the page, and then clicking on the locations that you want to remove. So if you don't see the duplicate listings that you want to remove, you may need to claim ownership over that listing before removing it. But unless you have multiple office locations, claiming and managing your law firm's local listings and citations is simple and quick, and in our opinion, should really be free. Next up, cultivating positive reviews from former clients and colleagues. So naturally, you don't want to get yourself into huge SEO or ethics trouble, or both, but a lot of times attorneys will set themselves up for those kinds of problems when they delegate the process of getting and managing reviews to a non-attorney marketer. And this was something I talked a lot about in our Start, Grow, Dominate series for attorneys, but I bring it up again because it's that important to understand. So to get good online reviews from real clients and to avoid or mitigate negative reviews, that is very important to both modern SEO and to the process of converting potential clients into your clients. And in fact, reputation management for lawyers has become so important that here at LawLytics, we have 2 methods to help attorneys do just that. The first is a powerful law firm reviews module that's built right into the LawLytics control panel. And that allows you to easily post and organize client and peer recommendations on your website. The second is a law firm reputation management add-on from Birdeye, and that allows attorneys to get, monitor, filter, and display reviews, and that's across a wide range of review sites, and that includes the big ones, Google, Facebook, Yelp, and Avvo. We believe that all attorneys should have control over the review process, and that's because law firm marketers without legal backgrounds are unregulated and they can get lawyers into trouble. There are a number of ways that things can go wrong, and we've seen these, and they include, but are not limited to, your marketing guy posts fake positive reviews about you, or posts fake negative reviews about your competitors, or alters reviews for spelling or grammar and changes their meaning. Maybe he or she solicits reviews in an unethical manner. Maybe they solicit reviews in a way that causes you to get negative reviews, or maybe they also add rating markup to your site that doesn't match real recommendations. It is your reputation, and we believe that no law firm SEO company should be in charge of managing or cultivating it. The good news is that getting and managing reviews is really easy. The setup time is minimal. The involvement of your firm can really be baked into the process of closing files at the conclusion of a matter. With the LawLytics Reputation Management add-on, it is also simple and automated to ask multiple former clients to review you without wasting your time or your money. The last thing is setting up mainstream social media accounts. So again, this is something I talked about in our Start, Grow, Dominate series, but social media plays an important role in the success of your law firm's website. But it's important to approach social media strategically and in the proper order. There are some legal marketing or legal SEO companies that will try to sell you social media marketing as a freestanding concept. This is a mistake. Social media accounts and activities should revolve around your law firm's website and support it, but they're not a viable replacement for a website with a built-in law firm blog. So if you don't have these, the sites that are listed here, if you don't have those social media accounts set up, we recommend that you spend just an hour or so to do so, and that's Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Those are usually the big 3 that are the most useful for attorneys. And LawLytics supports the automatic announcement of newly published blog posts to Facebook business pages and personal pages, to Twitter and to LinkedIn accounts and companies. And we recommend that attorneys connect their personal accounts as well as their business accounts. Personal accounts typically get shared more often. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, that is baked into our Start, Grow, Dominate series, so go check that out. But in the absence of well-established and robust content efforts on your law firm's website, we do not recommend paying somebody to run social media campaigns for your law firm. And that's because most law firms don't get business from direct social media marketing. However, we do recommend that you announce your new blog posts to social media. These announcements help disseminate interesting content, and when people share your content and link back to it, because it provides readers with something of value, that can have a real and lasting effect on your SEO. Okay, here is another question that we get, and we get this question a lot. How long does it take for SEO to work? And the answer to that, to the amount of time that it takes for your efforts or investment to start paying off, really depends. And the thing it depends on is the intensity of effort or the resources that you bring to bear. So, as an example, by following an aggressive and strategic content-centric SEO plan, and that's in the absence of previous bad SEO practices on a law firm's website. We have member law firms that have started to derive significant revenue from their investment in LawLytics in as little as 3 to 4 months. However, there are some firms that end up being highly successful who have waited significantly longer and their patience has paid off. There are many factors that will determine when and to what extent your law firm's SEO efforts are going to pay off. And these include, but again are not limited to, the amount of content on your website, the quality of the content on your website, the uniqueness of your content, the architecture of your website, the formatting of your content, the ease of use of your website, the competitiveness of your market, how narrow or broad your geographic targeting is, whether you have previously or currently engaged somebody to quote unquote build links for your law firm's website. And this usually delays the process of ranking well because the site has to regain the confidence of the search engines again. The extent to which you avoid letting things like fancy designs, moving images, other bells and whistles from designers get in the way of your content efforts. Simpler sites typically yield more rapid results. The bottom line is that creating a sustainable web presence using organic SEO takes some time, and attorneys who understand this and who are patient and who don't fall for quick fixes and shortcuts end up winning in the long run. Here's another thing that attorneys wonder about. Will buying Google pay-per-click or PPC ads help with SEO? So let's demystify a few things real quickly. You may have seen or heard from a marketing company that will tell you they are a Google partner. There are lots of marketing companies who confuse attorneys by making it sound like their Google partner status somehow makes their SEO efforts more effective or preferred by Google. And this is 100% false. It is false, it is misleading, and it is shameful. The Google partner status simply means that they are authorized to resell Google products like AdWords. There is absolutely no correlation between buying pay-per-click ads and organic search engine ranking or SEO. In fact, Google clearly states, keep in mind that the Google search results page includes organic search results and often paid advertisements, denoted as ads or sponsored as well. Advertising with Google won't have any effect on your site's presence in our search results. Google never accepts money to include or rank sites in our search results, and it costs nothing to appear in our organic search results. But this doesn't get in the way of many so-called law firm SEO providers who will strategically flaunt their status as a Google partner in correlation with marketing materials about their SEO services. If you're looking for a legal equivalent, the equivalent in law would be a law firm with advertising that implies that they can get their clients favorable results because they're friends with the judges or otherwise, or can otherwise exert undue influence. So, we've talked about how search engines work and how your potential clients use them to find attorneys. We've talked about where SEO can fall short. We've talked about SEO tactics to avoid. There's one last thing that I want to bring up, and that's this. The questions that you should be asking before you hire a SEO person or a company. Here are ones that we think are the most important and that can really keep you from making unnecessary mistakes. The first is, how long have you been in business? Stability is important, and the internet has made this easy to do in some ways, but there are some SEO operators out there who are running scams in which they will operate under one business name until they get caught doing something improper, but that's not a barrier to them. They will regroup under some other name. And there are people in other fields who come to internet marketing because they see it as having the potential to make money quickly. And that, of course, can be a possibility for them, whether it yields any real results for your firm or not. Have any of the company's principals been convicted of any crime involving dishonesty? Now, this is an important question to ask because, as we noted earlier, the SEO business attracts people from many walks of life, and that includes convicts. There are a lot of convicts out there that struggle to secure work or maintain a job who then become quote-unquote SEO professionals. We have seen attorneys do business with convicted felons who end up having their websites sabotaged or stolen, so not good news. How many full-time employees do you have? So this is actually a 2 or 3 part question, really. You'll also want to ask if these employees have other jobs on top of what they do for this SEO company. Ask for all of their names. And the reason for this is that there are law firm SEO providers who will try to make their companies look big and impressive by featuring a lot of independent contractors on their site as employees. So ask how many of their employees are full-time and don't also work for other companies or have their own businesses on the side. And don't just take their word for it. Look up the individual employees on LinkedIn to see if they list themselves as currently working for other companies. Other questions, including, do you have an office or does everybody work from home? And the reason that we suggest asking this question is that when everyone works from home, what that might indicate is that, like that question about full-time employees, the company is trying to appear bigger or more well-established than they really are. So, of course, let me say first that remote work is definitely possible online, but we find that it really better serves our clients to have most of our team located right here in a physical office. So, if the provider answers that everybody works remotely, it's sort of worth considering this. What assurances can they give you that they are a stable company and not some fly-by-night operation that's going to soon disappear? Another question is, do you outsource or offshore any of your work? So there are some law firm SEO companies who send their work to foreign countries, even though they claim that they don't. And as you might imagine, aside from just being downright deceptive, a language barrier can cause some ethics problems if they happen to reword your content for SEO purposes. Do you provide your employees with benefits? If the company in question provides its employees with medical, 401k, or other benefits, that's a sign that they're stable and invested in their team. If they're not providing them with benefits, that might be a sign of instability. Another important question, do you follow Google's Webmaster Guidelines? If they don't know what this is, run. If they say they mostly follow it, run. If they say that they have their own guidelines and so they don't follow Google's guidelines exactly, run as fast as you can in the other direction. Google's guidelines and following them are absolutely essential to having a web presence that works. There is a reason that Google holds the dominant market share, and inclusion on their search engine and any other search engine, as I've heard it put, is a privilege and not a right. What is the legal background of the people who are responsible for creating, editing, or optimizing content on my law firm's website? If they don't have a legal background, whoever this is, how can you really expect the pros on your law firm's website to remain legally accurate and ethics compliant? Remember, you as the attorney, you are ethically responsible for what is published on your firm's website. So when people optimize statutory language, it can distort the meaning. Another question to ask, do you understand legal ethics, especially rules 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, or their applicable equivalents? If they don't, then you have to ask yourself this, are you willing to risk answering to the bar for hiring them? Again, you are responsible for what they put on there. And since there are legal marketing companies that do understand the ethics rules, what would a reasonable and prudent attorney do? Another question. What do you know about the practice of law in my geographic area and my practice type or types if there's more than one? If this person is going to be optimizing your law firm website so viable potential clients can find you, then they should be able to articulate what they're looking for when they search Google. And they should be able to explain to you what your ideal potential client looks like. Do you have any special relationship with Google? This is something that I talked about in that 3-part Start, Grow, Dominate series, but I will make this short and I will say if the answer to this question is yes, or if they try to imply that the answer is somehow more nuanced than no, you should not do business with them. Can you provide a list of everything that you'll do and provide for my law firm? If the answer to this is no, or something like it's complicated, don't do business with them. If something is unclear, ask for clarification. Attorneys who blindly accept that a law firm SEO provider is doing, quote unquote stuff tend to get ripped off most of the time. So that wraps up the first part of this webinar, and I hope that you found the information here helpful. In part 2, now that we've covered the basics, we are going to dig deeper into some of the more commonly asked questions about law firm SEO, and that'll help to clarify this subject for you even more. We'll talk about things like backlinks, page speed, meta keywords, terms like offsite SEO, XML sitemaps, and other things that can confuse attorneys or send them down the wrong path. With that, I want to thank you so much for listening, and I want to encourage you to feel free to go check out any of our other free on-demand webinars as well as blog posts over at the LAWLYTICS website. We provide all of those resources to you for free to help you better understand how the internet works and how your potential clients are using it to find you. Now, if you have questions about your legal marketing or about law firm SEO, or you're ready to take your online marketing to the next level, we are here to help and we're happy to talk with you. So feel free to contact us through any of the methods that you see here. You can submit a consultation request from our main website at www.lawlytics.com. You can always call us at 800-713-0161, or you can shoot us an email at info@lawlytics.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.